Welcome back, you wonderful people, to a new playthrough of Satisfactory. Why? Because Update 4 is now available on the experimental branch on Epic, and I assume on the branch on Steam as well. So, I chose the desert. Haven't played in this area before, so I thought we'd get it started. Pretty usual stuff. While I'm doing the sort of starting little bits and pieces, I just want to talk about a few games that I kind of find quite interesting that may be worthwhile doing some content on. Premiere of which is Valheim, which I am very interested in. We'll see how well that goes. There should be a few videos over the next few days from different games, and one of them is going to be Valheim, and we'll see how far we get on that one. Coffee Stain Studios also, I think it may even be producing rather than developing, but I can't remember either way. However, Valheim and Satisfactory, so yeah, they seem to be doing pretty well as far as a record is concerned. Let's take care of the running alien. There we go. That's what I was saying. Valheim should be pretty good, so let's see how that goes. Next, after that, I also want to check out X4. Yes, for people who want to see more X4 content, there is Cradle of Humanity, which is a new DLC for X4. Let's dump that on there, and let's dump another one over here. And that has a whole bunch of new stuff, including terraforming and also as the name suggests, Cradle of Humanity. The whole Earth Terrans come back into the game that used to be in X3, etc. So I'm sure there'll be plenty of new stuff to actually acquire there and take a look at. That's 3 games, including Satisfactory, of course. I do want to continue the Minecraft playthrough to deal with all the more extensive advanced stuff after a quick break, and so we'll see how we get as far as that's concerned. However, to get started, let's just get into Satisfactory and get this up and running. So, what's in... autosave is actually working again. It wasn't working just after the release. So what's in Update 4, you may ask? Update 4 contains a whole bunch of stuff. The thing I'm most excited for is drones. Yes, like bots in Factorio, except they're sort of intended not so much as a mass use kind of thing, although that's what the developers say. And, putting it in players' hands, let's just say that may not hold. However, they intended to be point-to-point, so you put a starting place and an end place, and they will carry stuff in between. So not as good as perhaps something like a train, where you can have lots and lots of carriages on there that... whoops. Oh, hey, there's a rather unfriendly little spitting dragon thing. We're going to have to take care of this. 1 second. This may take more time. And I may need to get some food afterwards to stop me from dying, but yeah. 1 second, please. As I was saying before we were so rudely interrupted, what was I even saying? Oh yes, drones. So point to point, you'll put a source down and a destination, and they will carry a small amount of stuff between those two, but players are probably going to overwhelm that, and I want to see towers and towers of drone endpoints and start points and all kinds of stuff. Probably dragging the performance to its knees when actually doing that. So, yes, if you want to see that kind of stuff, I'm going to try it, and let me know if you're trying the same in your games as well. That's unfortunate. Anyway, I'm sure it'll produce stuff. I think there's also some copper. Let's scan for some copper this way. Should be some over there somewhere. Yep, 100 meters. Oh yes, where was I? Also, drones. Next thing is lights. There are some rather powerful lights to make basically indoor factories look amazing as far as that's concerned. So I do want to use those as far as the playthrough is concerned. There is also quite a lot of difference in all of Tier 7 and all of Tier 8. So if you had Alclad set up, if you had nuclear power set up, all of that's changed. One of the reasons why I'm doing a new playthrough is because, I don't want to break down the whole aluminium stuff. And there is a power storage in the game now. The important changes there are that instead of the generators in the game, like a whole generator, etc., matching the requirements from the factory, i.e. just supplying just enough power, they now supply full power all the time, but there is a power storage module, basically a battery or capacitor, think of it like that. And, raw quartz. Well, I will take a lot of these nodes that I don't have ore of, but just for research purposes. There should be some Caterium ore around here somewhere as well. I've yet to find, but it will be around. I'll come back to that later. Yes, so power storage. We'll probably want to have power banks at suitable locations so that should the worst happen and you enable something in your base that shuts down pretty much everything, you know, like building a whole new section of factory, you will have some way to get out of it. Now, what was going to do? Oh, yeah, select the first milestone. So, Tier 1, 2 are available. Tier 0 is what we skipped, basically. This is just the early stuff that you can make, and we've seen all that before, so you can skip that Tier 0 as far as that's concerned. Base building, you're going to get your foundations. That's good. Logistics, splitters, and mergers, all good there as well. And parts assembly to get our first assembler going is probably my initial thought, and then we've got to work on the space elevator and then get into the following tiers through that. So to get started with, I guess I should probably just go with something like this, although we do need screws for that, so maybe something easier like this. I'm just going to select that as a milestone, and it's going to pop up at the top right, and we can deal with that kind of thing. So I'm going to get started, and I'm going to do it a little bit off camera so that you're not watching me do a lot of very basic stuff that you've already seen before. And I'll bring you back once we've got, you know, a few bits and pieces and talk a little bit more about the features in this update. On a new day, and we've got our initial construction up for the sort of very bare bones of any kind of factory. Unlike certain friends of mine, I do believe this is very, very temporary and not the ultimate way to construct a factory on dirt. So I will be changing this as soon as I can actually get around to it. We're just out of power at the moment, but just to give you a brief idea, this is mining copper. I'm not concerned in any way about this going to 2 of these to make things nice and balanced. I'm just producing some initial resources. So this is just producing copper ingots, which is turning into copper plates. Sorry, not copper plates, wire, I should say. And over there, we've got something that we don't need the smelter. It's just limestone being assembled into concrete. And then up here, as you might imagine, I've got 2 iron spots. So one of them is being produced into plate, and the other one is being produced into rods. So I have, you know, a lot of the most basic resources going. I then researched the rest of Tier 1, so that's getting a few things out of the way. We've got some foundations. We've got the conveyor lifts and splitters and mergers. And that's pretty much it, apart from the MAM, which I should actually build. Separate building now, apparently. Okay, I'm perfectly fine with that. Does it actually need power? I would assume so at some point. I'll put it up here. Okay. Again, just on the dirt for now. And there we go. So, a bunch of things I found. Over there near the waterfall is a little nook with some a coal ore node that you can pick up. Not one that you can place a miner on, just the actual the single-use nodes. I did pick up Caterium and Quartz, or again, all from the sandy area. Nothing that I can actually put a miner on, unfortunately. So there is some bauxite. That's going to be aluminium, obviously. And there's coal. There is flowers and wood. I'm going to need to produce more for some power shortly. And then we've got quartz and Caterium. So they should show up here in the MAM for us to actually research, and then you know, things like the scanner will open up for us to find more of those nodes. So quartz, nutrients, flower petals, Caterium, and alien organisms. I'm going to go for the various nodes, I think. First, it doesn't really much matter what we actually go for, I don't think, although we may need to get a few bits and pieces to get things going. So, yep, I will get those sorted, and we'll do that in the background again, just until I can get to actual coal generators, rather than running around for leaves all the time. So, some of the features of the release, we have two new transport options. We have basically zip lines using power lines. There is going to be a piece of equipment that you're going to be able to craft that will attach to your power lines and let you travel along them. Again, like zip lines, so kind of like an ascender descender kind of thing, but horizontally-ish. Also going to have a jetpack, so a jetpack that is much better than sort of the ones we've had previously, it looks like, from the various videos I've seen on the topic, so that's going to be good. None of them are available just yet. The object scanner I probably should craft pretty soon. That'll help me locate stuff. But yeah, let me just show you the research, where I am on this. So Milestones, tier 1, all done. Showing you all those that we can now just do. And that's fine, extra hand slot and some inventory slots, nothing important. Picked up obstacle clearing because I want to be able to craft solid biofuel, the most energy efficient form of solid biomass. And then I'm currently working on this, which is the assembler with copper sheets, some rotors, modular frames, etc. All of this is going to get dumped into the space elevator when I build that thing, which is going to need about 400 more concrete and 400 more iron rods and a lot more wire. So I'm going to add that to the to-do list just so that I can see what I need, and probably have to head out for some more leaves. While I'm out exploring, however, one of the other games I want to check out as well, and maybe you want to put your comments down below if you've tried it and see whether it will be good, is Dyson Sphere program, which kind of like a cross between Kerbal Space Program and something else entirely. In fact, it is more like Factorio meets Planetary Annihilation. If you've seen Planetary Annihilation, basically you have small planets you can zoom out, and they're obviously impossibly small planets, but they let you... oh, 3 of those things, great. They let you see the entire planet at once and build over the surface of this really small planet, and there are multiple planets, and the objective of the game is, of course, to build a Dyson Sphere, which, if you don't know what one is a bit... well, it's a bit of a hard structure to make. It's basically surrounding your entire home star with a structure of some kind. A Dyson Sphere normally refers to like a complete hard shell around the star, but there's problems with that in that it wouldn't stay in orbit nicely. So usually you tend to think about Dyson swarms, which is basically just imagine enough stuff in orbit that it will block out the entire star's light from anywhere else, and they're just all orbiting, etc. The object, of course, is to use all of the star's energy for your civilization, so that should be quite interesting. And again, it is quite Factorio-like, a little bit less easy to place stuff down, obviously, because you're in a 3D environment, and it's not a 3D environment like this. It is still quite overhead. If you're used to like Total Annihilation, those kind of games, RTS games of various kinds, you are controlling a very similar kind of thing. You have kind of like a commander that you control directly walking around, and then you place stuff that is close to your commander. A bit of a bigger version of your Factorio basic player. And more things to actually run around. Anyway, I'm off to just get more fuel while I do that, and you, by the magic of editing, will skip forwards and we'll see what the next step is. I'm not going to be wanting to build onto this dirt or this sand, although I do absolutely like the idea with this release. You have lights, and I think really bright lights down onto the the red sand around here will actually look quite good as kind of an underfloor level. So yeah, let me know what you think below. And of course, without exploring, we get to our first hard drive that we're going to actually want to get, along with a spitting dragon-y kind of thing. So, yeah, let me just take care of this guy. Hopefully we're not without too much damage. I hope we'll take some. I need a better melee weapon than this. Come on. There we go. Some more alien organs for me to research. Anyway, can we actually open this without... needs 10 rotors. We can't do rotors just yet. But I need to mark this. Do I have any beacons? I do have some beacons. Let me just put one down here and configure that to say hard drive. And that before I get killed by another one of the spitting things. Anyway, back to the hub it is, and we'll carry on construction. I need to talk about a little bit about the approach I'm going to make to building our entire factory. And also in the desert, there are these caves that you may well see just getting underneath some rocks, not far away from the hub as well. Just bear in mind there is water down here, which is kind of cool. But also, these things, are they still a work in progress? They probably still are. Yeah, still work in progress. I'm not going to pick them up just in case we want to come back to that and they become something more. However, I will show you where the entrance to this one is. You need to actually stoop down to actually get into and out of it. There you go. You can't really tell that that's actual cave otherwise, but again, both this and the hard drive are east of our hub. So I couldn't resist. I went and handcrafted those rotors, so we should just be able to scan this hard drive, and when it comes back and finishes, we should get some alternate recipes for whatever we currently got, I would imagine. Well, we'll see. I also crafted the awesome shop. We can't really afford any of the tickets just yet, but in here I just wanted to show you some of the new stuff with the update. There is the floodlights in here, the indoor lighting, and the street lights. These are quite good with train tracks and stuff like that. But of course, these are just massive lights as far as that's concerned. There is also light control panels, which is something you can set to like red, amber, green, etc. Stuff like that's going on in there, worthwhile doing. I think most of the rest of the stuff is stuff you would have seen in the previous tier. I do fancy using these foundation pillars to act as the underfloor down here in the sand. Obviously, we'll be putting a large floor up above us. And anything else in here that I want to cover right now? Not really, no. So, well, first few tickets, I think I'll probably want to do something around these kind of lights, and whatever else we can actually grab from in here is perfectly fine. But I don't need this for now. It's not consuming any power, so it's perfectly fine. And yes, so let's talk a little bit about what I'm going to do just with this area. So, let's get up on top of here. I do fancy the idea of an underfloor with all the sand, with all the lights and everything else, and to build up above. At least, I mean, if we have a look around, you sort of maybe want to think about either this this cliff as the first floor level, maybe, or maybe even higher. Maybe that one would be a decent sort of size for the first floor, at least. I do like the idea of buildings that we did last season in the other area, but I have some changes and some comments to make about them. One, I built them too small. 3 or 4 by 4 sort of construction block, not construction, foundation blocks. If we just have a look in here, you know, stuff like this kind of size. Let's just put this down. 3 or 4 of these is a little bit cramped, so I think I want to make them larger first of all. Second of all, whenever there's miners down, I was always having problems getting a miner to actually fit through the foundation so everything looked nice. So instead, what I'm going to do is just have the miners on the floor like this, and we'll use elevators, which didn't exist at the start of the last season, to basically bring them up to the main floor and have a storage box be essentially, inverted quote marks, the source of whatever the miner is actually producing. So that will just act as the source up at the top as a buffer box, and then the miners can just be wherever they like on the floor down here. We'll put lights around them so they do look quite good, but otherwise leave them. And then the sort of the factory floor upstairs will be made with usual foundations, but I do quite like the idea of multiple base floors. So whereas we might have here this as a floor with a building on it, what I might like the idea to do is have this floor and then pillars up again to the next floor, and then have the buildings on top of there. So we have like a base area, which is the underfloor, like this kind of stuff. Then we have a sort of underfloor area, factory area for routing lots of resources, the belts, elevators, stuff like that. And then on top of that is the actual buildings itself, and the buildings will have scalable floors sort of upwards, and everything should be working quite well. I think that will improve massively even on last season's stuff. And even last season's stuff, I was quite happy with all those buildings with scalable stuff in them. So yeah, that's where I'm planning to go at the moment. But if you have ideas, again, you can use the comments field down below, and of course we can discuss them. This video is being produced pretty much on the same day that it goes out, so not a lot of these episodes are currently queued, although as it goes forwards I may queue a few, so there might be a delay from any kind of comments that you guys have made. As far as that's concerned, I do actually need to change this. I need a lot more concrete, and this is acting as a bottleneck, so I am going to be able to do that with splitters and mergers, but I really do need, I'll just take some of those iron ingots out. I do, in fact, that's not concrete, this is rods. Yeah, I don't quite need as many of those. It's concrete that I'm going to want a huge amount of, and that's down there. Where was I? Yes, just talking about just general approach to everything. We've got most of the way through tier 1 and tier 2 now. We're leaving the only construction really to be getting on with is stuff like the space elevator, which is good to have. If we do that in the first episode, hey, that's pretty good. Also, then that's going to have to basically be it, because the next step is going to be all the stuff you need to feed into the space elevator to get to tier 3, and that's going to be things like modular frames, assorted stuff along those lines. That's going to need a factory floor, so I'm going to need to start building a factory floor up somewhere and start to build out or at least this is tier 1 of the factory, our tier 2 version of the factory as far as that's concerned. Okay, I shouldn't say tier because that's going to confuse it with research. If this is Mark 1, then Mark 2 is going to be at least a floor up there somewhere, and maybe we build off these cliffs, or maybe just pillar up. Yeah, I haven't decided yet. We're going to need ladders of some kind or jump pads. I guess I could research. Well, in fact, I've already put the research up at the top right. Jump pads so that we can get ejected onto the floor from down here and stuff like that. Okay. I did also start crafting a few of the pieces of equipment they're going to want to have around. One of them being the object scanner, the other one being the chainsaw. Chainsaw will get you wood from trees, as you might imagine down there. There's quite a few. However, that is also really quite useful in terms of converting that over into biomass and then into the compressed stuff down here. Solid biofuel. This is much easier to get from wood than it is from leaves, and that is worthwhile doing at some point, at least for all of you guys. The other thing is object scanner, so if I just change that over for a second, you see right now I can scan with the right click, I can change, but I can scan for mushrooms, nuts and berries. I don't have anything else in there yet, but we will have soon, and then I'm going to need some of that fuel for our chainsaw to work, so I will have to take a little bit out of the power to get everything working, but chainsaw it is. I'm off to get more power. If I haven't already mentioned it, aside from the sound of the chainsaw, let me just change that over. If I haven't already mentioned it, I'm not sure if it came in with this update or not, but something very handy if you're handcrafting is that you can just tap space once and it will start crafting and not stop. This before you had to wedge a key down like on the space bar or on the mouse button or something. Now very handy, and even if you change over to like a different category, you'll continue to craft them as you actually go. So yep, very handy thing to actually know about rather than holding the mouse key down. Chainsaw. We should hopefully somewhere have something we can chainsaw down. Yep. Okay, that's going to be leaves and some wood. I'm going to go for the rest of all this stuff. Always fun to get the chainsaw the first time and start clearing out all of the really wonderful and beautiful sort of greenery that will no longer exist once our grey dystopian factory takes place. Yeah. It's that time. First episode. We're going to go straight for a space elevator. Thank you. There is an actual interface that say how many space elevators you actually want on the to-do list. Don't think I'm going to actually need more than one, let's say, and try to fit it somewhere that I can reasonably get to with the ports. Let's just put it there for now. It's going to get moved anyway because we're going to need to be building floors upwards, but yeah, it's just traditional to show this kind of thing. This is probably the most awesome sort of assembly of the game. I'm not sure if... Well, in fact, one of the other new features in the update is there is going to be a particle accelerator later in the actual game. However, it is not like miles-long CERN kind of territory. It is more like a giant machine like this than anything else. It's not this kind of size, unfortunately. I would like something that was... maybe you have to build a particle accelerator from pipes and stuff like that. That would be nice. Anyway, in comes our... a tether with the massive cable up into the sky, and that should then let us interact. Once it's done, there's the platform, should come in, and then we should be able to use this thing. Yep, there we go. Configure, and we're going to need smart plating first, and that needs to be, we'll unlock tier 3 and 4. Good. I did also research the hard drive. Not sure if I've already mentioned it. It was just an alternate recipe for modular frames I chose, so we'll go ahead and do those. However, in the meantime, we're going to need that smart plating. To make smart plating, we're going to need a few assemblers, and as such, I'm going to actually be building just a temporary floor down here just to hold this kind of stuff around. In fact, let me just remove that for a second. I want to make this a little bit more accurate, because everything's going to be aligned to this first block pretty much. So I'm going to make my grid line north, south, east, west, etc. It's the cardinal points of the compass, and then everything else should hopefully be better. Can I actually even get up there? I don't think I can't without the actual runners, so I would need a ramp up there. I'm going to put a ramp in place. There we go. And there as well. Cool. So I can build a temporary floor out up here, and we're going to be putting down 3 assemblers. So let me get the floor down, and then I'll show you how I've got those set up. I'm going to just feed them manually for the moment whenever I need stuff, and then they'll just be producing stuff. Later we'll tie everything together once I build a floor above this level, which will eventually become our underfloor level. So yeah, I'm off to make more foundations. And here's the initial setup. It isn't balanced, it just gets us actually going. This is a box in the middle. This is going to contain screws. Left hand side is going to contain plates, as you can see. Right hand side is going to contain rods. Now we've got 2 assemblers here. They both take screws. One of them takes plates, the other one takes rods. And at the back of those get produced the 2 items we actually need over here, which is to say reinforced iron plates and rotors. And we get smart plating out of this. So I've just put in a separate biomass burner rather than trying to hook this up to everything else, and everything is pretty good there. So I can run it on demand, and it's entirely separate to everything else. So I can just generate smart plating whenever I have enough screws for everything else. So I'm going to need to go and generate some of those for the moment. I may even replace this center one with a machine specifically to do screws. I mean, it's going to be produced using, let's just, do I have enough? I don't have enough to actually make that. It's going to be produced using a constructor, so technically it can also be fed by rods. So we could move that further out and then have a machine splitting things off, but it'll work for at least for now. And a short time later, we have basically 50 smart platings, which is exactly what we needed to finish at the episode and get tier 3 and 4 unlocked. That's further down than I was expecting. Tier 3 and 4 unlocked, which is exactly what I want. Dump all of you in there, please, and seal. And send. And off it should go up into the sky, and we should get tier 3 and 4 unlocked. I've moved the MAM, the equipment workshop, and the hub for now onto the platform. Again, they'll be moved once the actual new floor is in place. This is just a very temporary platform, and off it then goes into the distance. Are you going to give me another interface now? Tell me what I need next. Maybe? Yes. So, well, 500 smart plating, 500 versatile framework, and 100 automated wiring. So those are very different products than I had at the start of last playthrough. So yeah, they've changed things quite a bit on there. Do we now have tier 3 and 4 visible? Oops. Tier 3 and 4. Yes, we do. So we have coal power. Good. And then we can then scan for coal, more important than anything else. That's going to need 50 rotors, 150 reinforced iron plates, and 300 cable. Vehicular transport, tractors, not too concerned about that one. Basic steel would be good. That's the versatile framework we were going to looking for. But what's in tier 4 now? At least minor Mark 2s, very nice. Want those. Improved melee combat is useful to have, and I guess it won't be too expensive. Hypertubes, amazing. Got to have those. They got to be done. And then we've got more logistics to actually get through. So I think that's pretty much done for this episode. I think there's bits and pieces we can actually do now, but I think we should be good to go. So if you enjoyed the episode, give it a thumbs up down below, put comments down on what you've got for suggestions, and of course any of the games that I've mentioned if you are interested in, or any others, let me know down below and I can take a look at them and consider what we do for sort of this next season of content. As always, guys, thanks a lot for watching. We'll see you next time.